today's session we're going to run is all about landing pages and the importance of landing pages, as well as like how to put together good landing pages. So we're going to go through just a quick introduction, some of the core components that you need to have in terms of your landing page, some examples of different landing page uses. So people always think about them in the same boat, but they are uniquely different in some different use cases. And we're going to go through a couple of good examples of those, and then some tools, mostly free tools, because we're aware that we work in the startup system, that you can use to help you create good landing pages and help you host good landing pages. And so what I'll kick off with is just an introduction, like what is a landing page? Because it isn't as well understood, I think, than some people would think. And the reason behind it is whenever you ask and talk to people about landing pages, they'll very commonly say that the first thing they think of is a website homepage. And that's actually not a landing page in the classic sense. A landing page is where you send someone with the intention of completing a conversion action. And so the difference between that and your website homepage is when you send them to your website homepage, what you're looking to do is get them to educate themselves on your product and offering, explore a little bit around, but there's multiple options they can do, there's multiple things they can do. And so it's not conversion based, whereas a landing page, it's a very specific and very deliberate attempt to get them to complete usually a singular action. And so that's quite important as we talk about how you're framing your landing page, because it won't be the same as your homepage. There's some things that you can apply to both, but they are quite different. And so it's worth keeping in mind as we kick into this. And so what makes a landing page convert? And when we talk about conversions, we don't always mean purchases. Obviously, that is your ideal landing page down the funnel goal. But at the top of the funnel, you've got landing pages where you're looking for someone to give you an email, you're looking for someone to click a button, you're looking for someone to schedule a demo. You're just looking for them to do something. And so the ones that achieve that usually will give value first. And I think, you know, when you're building your service or when you're building your product, it's very easy to say, well, my product and service gives value, and that is usually true for most people. But what you'll want to do is really highlight the value or give them something else that really beneficially points towards it, so that they can see the value immediately in terms of the other offerings that you can give them. It's also usually a solution to a problem. You know, if there's no problem, you either have to educate them about the problem so that they understand that you're the solution, but if they're aware of the problem, you want to be the solution. And the difference between that and even sometimes on your homepage is it's not always so specific about what it is that your product does. What it's actually trying to get across is how it helps the user. And then education. If someone doesn't understand your offering, it's going to be very hard to convince them to take any type of action. And so what you'll want to do is get them to really hone in on what it is that you do and why it matters. And so the number I have in here is a little bit scary because, you know, landing pages are very commonly associated with paid acquisition. But in the general sense, the vast majority of landing pages won't convert. And the reason behind that is a landing page is simply a step in the journey. It is rarely a one and done situation. And so when you're building, it's good to not be too self-critical. If your landing page has a decent conversion rate, that can be 5, 10, 15%. For some industries, that could be as low as 2 or 3%. But in the general scheme, landing pages need to be able to push forward, and even without the conversion action, should add something to that customer understanding and that customer journey. And so the types of landing page I'm going to talk specifically through today are, I divide it into 3 categories. These are not kind of official terms, but I think are good ways of mentally breaking them up as you think about building and crafting your landing pages. The first is a lead magnet. And so what a lead magnet is you get something in exchange for something else. So you get this ebook in exchange for your email. You get this webinar in exchange for your phone number. You get this template in exchange for some information about your company. That's your very classic lead magnet type offering. Your get started is further along the funnel. And so what a get started is your free trial. If you have a product offering that has a free plan, it's getting someone started into the free plan. It's more based into actually what you're offering. And then thirdly is the product page. And I specifically picked this one for this session because what I wanted to start talking about was there are some instances where you don't need to warm someone through a landing page. Your landing page can be an exact purchase. And I guess the common examples for this that we'll dig into are around fashion, around food, around your one-off purchases. And there is, you know, some good techniques and crafting that you can use to supplement your system there to really help to get those sales in. But what we'll get into before we get into the very specifics of those landing pages is the general good principles across these landing pages. Your headline. So your headline is that very first piece of text that you'll see when you go to a landing page. It's big, it's bold, it should tell you something about the product and something about the offering that makes you want to read. And I have this quote here: on average, 5 times as many people read the headline as read the body copy. Why does that matter? If your headline's not good, it's highly unlikely they're going to read the rest, and it's very unlikely that they're going to take any action. So you should really spend a lot of time thinking about what your headline is and what it does to help sell your offering. 2, the next thing, your subheader. What's that thing that happens in between that actually tells them about your product? So a headline often can talk about the value, the benefit, it saves you time, it saves you money. What your subheader does, it gets the nuts and bolts of, this is what I do. Growth University, we offer training, program, and content to help grow startups. That's our subheader type text. For you, it's going to be a little bit different, but it should get to the nuts and bolts of what you do. So by the time they read those 3 to 4 sentences, they know exactly what you do and why they should care. 3rd, your call to action. This is arguably the most important thing on the page, because this is what you want someone to do. A landing page without a call to action isn't really a landing page. And so your call to action most commonly is a button. It's your get started button, it's your download button, it's your form fields. It's what do you want someone to do? You should make that really actionable and really, really concrete. And then lastly, social proof. So social proof is really important in a landing page, because people won't believe you. When you're talking about your product, you're inherently biased to try to get someone to buy it. And so what you'll want to do is you're going to want to show them that other people have purchased, other people have taken part, and other people saw the benefit. When there's a group type mentality around something, it feels a lot less risky. And so your common examples of this are your 4.9 stars out of 5, over 300,000 companies use us, a picture of John Doe with his face and his written testimonial, even something like company logos. All of these types of things add to the security that this product or offering is worth my time. And so what we're going to do now is look at those concepts as they relate to those pages we talked about. All of these pages will have all of those elements. And as you are building landing pages, or even as you're observing them, you should take note of, what is that headline? Did I stop and read that headline? Why did I stop and read that headline? Did that call to action make me want to click it? Did I feel comfortable clicking it? What was it that I did that made me want to do those things? And so we're going to talk about all those concepts in relation to the pages here. And so the first one, as I said at the top, was a lead magnet page. So giving something in exchange for something else. It's kind of your most common one, your classic example. It's really effective for business where like an instant sale is going to be difficult. So your subscription businesses, your higher tier margin ones, anything where it's unlikely someone's going to come to your site, say yes straight away, take out their credit card to buy. As much as we'd all love that to be the process that happens, there's not a lot of products in the startup space in particular that fall into that category. So you will need to warm them up to it. And one of the best ways of warming people up is to capture their email, give them something of value, and then you can let the rest of your funnel progress them through and convert them into customers. And so for a lead magnet page in particular, these are some of kind of the core tips that I would give, which is a really, really clear call to action. You want that value offering to be really strong so that giving an email is not even a second thought. They've already inserted it in, but by the time that they realize that they've done it, it should be super, super compelling in terms of the ask must use the offer. If I get a 1-page document, but I have to fill in a 26-step form, that ask does not meet that offering. It's going to take me a lot of time to fill in that form. And at the end, I don't feel like I'm getting the same value. So keep in mind that what you ask from someone should meet what you're in exchange of giving them, and they should feel like they're getting the better deal as opposed to the other way around. Your value and audience must be relevant. And so landing pages don't live by themselves. You have to send someone to it. And so when you're crafting a lead magnet page, you want it to be relevant. So if I have a product that specifically works towards executives in a company and I make this Excel template for CFOs, but I don't actually get CFOs to the page, that's not going to work very well as a lead magnet because it's not going to be relevant to other audiences. So it's worth keeping in mind, where is your audience coming from? What is it that they want? And is this something that is valuable to them? Those 3 components have to exist for your lead magnet page to work. Again, benefit focused. If I download this ebook, if I join this webinar, what do I get from it? That should be really, really clear so that that ask doesn't seem like as much of an ask because I'm getting so much for it. And again, a singular focus, in particular, our lead magnet page has to be singularly focused. This is rarely a time where you'll talk a lot about your company or a lot about your other services or a lot about your other offerings. You might have some tidbits about a general about us, a little tiny bit of how we work, but you want the goal to be talking about, you should get this ebook because it does this. This ebook is going to show you this. This webinar is going to tell you how to do this. This template will help you reinvent your social media structuring. It should be all focused on, we want you to give us an email and we want you to do that quickly, or we want you to fill out this form and we want you to do it quickly. It shouldn't be broad enough that someone gets lost, gets confused, doesn't see the value, clicks on another link, which in this case can be actually quite detrimental, clicks on another link, goes to your website and disappears. You want to be able to capture that information quickly. And then brand cohesion. Usually with these types of pages, you're coming from like a paid acquisition, you're coming from an organic search, an organic feed, or paid feeds. And so you'll want to make sure that the message matching at the top meets the message matching at the bottom. So what I mean by that is, if you have a Facebook ad and the colors are red, pink, and blue, and then I get to my landing pages and it's black and white, that doesn't feel very connected to me. I feel like something's gone missing. I'm now a tiny bit suspicious. And so this page is going to take a lot more work for me to be able to convince someone. So if you can match the verbiage, if you can match the colors, if you can match the feel, the voice, the tone of your brand the whole way through, it'll make that final ask much, much easier because they'll feel at ease. And so here's 2 lead magnet page examples, just so you can see what it means in practice. So on the right-hand side, you've got one from HubSpot. If you're familiar with HubSpot, you'll know that they do an awful lot of these lead magnet pages. It's kind of bread and butter of their business. They also give you the tools to build them, so it kind of plays in nicely. But you can see on this, this is just below the scroll again. It actually takes to the very, very bottom of that page, to that footer, before I actually learn that much about HubSpot. All they want me to do is realize that I get a free download. It's an email marketing template. What I can use it for, that call to action is super clear. Download now for free. It's minimizing the risk. I'm not thinking about anything else. Here's some use cases for my template. It's abundantly clear. All they want me to do is download this template, and nothing moves away from that focus. You can also see that the top of that landing page has no website navigation. They're not even giving me the option of going to a HubSpot homepage. They're not giving me the option to go see HubSpot pricing. They're just asking me for click that download now button. Again, on the left-hand side is Reprise, which is another product demo type tour offering. They've got a quick form. It's got 5 fields, so it's pretty quick. It's to schedule a demo, so you can move towards it faster. You can't really see it. It's a small bit blurry, but underneath that header text is actually logos from companies. What have they done there? They've made it feel like that group mentality. They've made me feel like I'm not the one who's going to do this by themselves. And then you can see that the header is super clear, like, what can I do, get started. So it's really quick. It's based on what they want me to do, and they're not moving away from that. So then we've got the get started landing page. So this one is more typically what you'll see, particularly on a SaaS type industry. So it's the 14-day free trials, it's the free tiers of a plan. It's those types of things where they're not giving me content around it. They want me to go in and experience the product itself. And usually if you're a product-based company, this will work pretty well. And the goal here again is to get someone to use it. Inherently, your hypothesis with a landing page like this is, if you can get someone to use the product, they will see the value, they will stick around, and over time become a purchasing user. And so tips. You want to risk minimize hugely here. If you're getting someone to, skip the getting to know you phase almost and get them straight into start using the product, they want to feel like it's not going to be a huge ask for them. So common things here are, if it's for free, adding text around no credit card required, those company logos like we talked about a little bit before, all those types of things are going to be super important to make someone feel like this isn't going to be a big ask. Why X, Y, and Z? So what that means is, like, why should they use this? What is the benefit? And this is where this type of page differs from a lead magnet, which instead of talking about this nice thing that you were going to get, you're now actually talking about your full product offering. What are the things I can do with the product? What is the actual nuts and bolts in terms of the features? But more importantly, what are the benefits I get from using it? And so you'll also want to make that applicable to your audience. If you're doing it in segments, like the CFO example we mentioned earlier, if it's going to be a tool based on financing, making sure the things that are super relevant to CFOs are apparent. If it's aimed at a different market, making sure that it's highly, highly relevant, which again allows you to go just a layer deeper in terms of your segmentation to try get them to take that action. And then KISS, a common marketing term, keep it simple. The last word is stupid. Don't overcomplicate this. You want your product to sing for itself. You don't want to make the sign up process difficult. You want them to pretty much as quickly as possible get them to your product. And so anything that distracts from that is something you should automatically look at removing from your page. And so here's two other examples. We've got MailChimp and we've got Copy.ai. MailChimp is a very commonly used email marketing sending platform, but you can see they've got that top header in bright yellow. You cannot miss it. Do this with MailChimp. They've got a nice visual there where you can see, oh, I can write emails and I can do this. The button is just sign up. It's again a different color from the yellow, so it stands out. It talks a little bit about why you should do it, but you've got that why MailChimp, what it is that the product does, as well as that social proof. You know, most startups are not in a position to say that they've 12 million businesses relying on them. But if you've got a couple of hundred, say that. If you've got a couple of thousand, say that. If you've got some logos you can put in, use those. Do anything you can to show people that this is a product people like, this is a product people use, and that you should also like it and you should also use it. Again, they reiterate multiple times on this page that you can get started for free. And they make it abundantly clear that I don't have to take out my credit card, which again works along that risk minimization. And then for Copy.ai, again, really strong header. You can see immediately what the product does. You've got that join 500,000 content marketers, some really notable company logos, how it works. As you scroll down that page, it does talk about the why Copy.ai. But what I really like about this landing page, and it's, you know, if you have the technical skills on hand to do it, I would definitely recommend it. You can sign up via Google, which instantly as a user, I know is going to be quicker. Most of us are set up to do the automatic signs in, so we don't have to go through the sign up process. Again, it helps to risk minimize. I know it's not going to take me that long to do. I know I'm going to get into it straight away. They've also given me some other options. I can sign up with email. And what's different about this Get Started page examples versus the ones I talked about previously, the lead magnets, is that you'll actually notice both of these have the top header sections. Because the Get Started page is about trying to get someone to use the product, their ability to get to learn about the product and click around the site is a little bit more important. So they've opted to put those back in. I would always test with that, but on the Get Started pages, it's much easier and much more likely that you'll want to integrate that and give someone somewhere else to investigate, somewhere else to learn from, so that they're more likely to get started, because asking someone to use a product is a further step along than asking someone to just download a piece of content. And then product pages. So these, particularly in the DTC space and the e-commerce space, if you've got a physical offering, these are the types of pages that you'll most commonly see. If you do any type of internet shopping, these are probably the ones you'll come across the most often. And so they work best when the search or the way that your audience is being brought towards it is super, super specific. And the goal is to get someone to purchase. You're not trying to do anything else. You're purely trying to get them to purchase. And so if you're working in a very e-commerce type space, these are pages that you'll likely spend a bit of time on. So with any product page, and as a consumer, this is probably the one that most people are most familiar with too, the importance of a high quality image. If you have a physical offering, it is worth spending the time getting a really nice picture of that t-shirt, getting someone wearing that t-shirt, making that t-shirt look really nice, because a bad picture or even a low quality pixelated type picture is going to immediately send distrust to someone, and they're not going to see the value of what you're offering. Again, the pricing and the CTA should be really, really clear here. What you want is someone to see the product, look at the pricing and click the button. That's the ideal workflow of someone who hits a product page. And so you'll want to make those three factors really, really stand out. Reviews and stars. So what we're looking for here is, again, like at all the other landing pages, do other people like this product? Have other people use this product? If I buy this t-shirt, is it going to fall apart? Or did someone already say this is the greatest t-shirt they've ever owned, right? Even if you've only one review and it has 5 stars, that immediately puts so much more trust into someone than seeing none of those types of visual cues. So if you have them, definitely use them. FAQs and clear product details are also pretty important. These ones, you know, the first 3 points, 4 points I spoke about are definitely things you want to see in that top section of your page. The FAQs can be a little bit below it, and the product details can be sometimes below it as well. But what you're trying to do here is, again, minimize the risk. what size is this t-shirt? If this t-shirt doesn't come in my correct size, I'm not going to be happy, and that may be a reason I don't want to purchase. If I can deal with some of that type of question in an FAQ, it now minimizes the risk that I feel towards purchasing. If I am allergic to a certain fabric and I need to know if that's in the t-shirt, that's something I want to be able to learn quickly. So you should be thinking about that in terms of your consumer. Is there something I need to put in here that will be useful for them to know? Or what are the questions that may come up when they try to make this type of purchase that I want to address upfront? Upsell opportunities below the fold. Again, really, really common. And I think Amazon is the classic example I'd always refer to on this. As you're scrolling through and as someone is looking at a product, take the time and take the opportunity to add, you may also like this. If it's the t-shirt, maybe it's the matching jeans, maybe it's the jumper, maybe it's the color-coded hat in the same bracket. It just allows you an additional opportunity that if they've liked what they're looking at now, you're now feeding them even more and helping to increase your revenue. Maintaining your navigation, again, similar to the Get Started page, because product pages tend to be quite specific, there's always the possibility that someone doesn't want to be brought to this exact product, or they'll want to move up a step further. So what you'll want to do there is just, if you've got a t-shirt site, like I've been kind of using as my example, make sure that they can go and see other t-shirts, or they can go see the other jackets. Let them self-select their journey a small bit more, because you've put them so far down the funnel that they may not be ready to purchase, or this may not be the purchase for them. And what you want to make sure is you don't lose a purchase because you tried to get them to take this very specific purchase. And then the last thing that usually can help on a product page, if you can facilitate it, shipping. No one likes paying for shipping. Studies have found time and time again that by actually baking in the cost of your shipping into your product and offering free shipping, you're much more likely to get the sale off the consumer. So if you're in a position to do so, try to give free shipping. It's a really solid way of getting more people to purchase. Urgency, so limited stock, sale applies till Friday, those types of offerings, again, just help to move someone a bit quicker into that purchasing mode. And then offers 2 for 1 on t-shirts, claim your deal now. That type of thing will, again, help with your upsells as well as helping to get people to purchase. And so these are some of your kind of classic product page examples. Amazon is one that everyone's pretty familiar with, so you can go look at that one too on your own time, but I thought I'd pull some ones that are a little bit different. I think worked really well. So on the left, we have Allbirds. It's a shoe company, as you're likely familiar. You can see immediately what the brand is called. You can see images of the shoe, different angles. You can also see someone wearing the shoe. Again, if you have a product, a physical product, having an image with someone using that product is super, super powerful in terms of trying to get them to convert, because when people see people, they automatically resonate with that. And so the fact that these people are wearing shoes and running in the shoes, you're now painting that picture that you could be running in these shoes, and it makes it a bit more relevant than just having the product by itself. Again, the pricing is very clear. It's just above that header text. The purchase now gets selected when you select your size. You can see also bought with, you can see some FAQ drop downs. They've got a bunch of stuff in there that we talked about that just helps direct people towards purchasing. And then on the right hand side is called Commentier. It's a flash frozen coffee company, and so it's a subscription box type company. And so again, you can see the pricing is super, super clear. It's a black background, and so the yellow highlights the buttons as well as the stars and some of this relevant information. Again, a really simple way just to make those things stand out is just alternating the color. Again, they've got bullet points about the product, and what's really interesting, and I couldn't capture for this, is that actually a lot of those elements are motion based. So you can see someone actually make the coffee through those graphics on the bottom of that screen. Again, helps to paint the picture of this is what the product is, but here's some actual people using it and going through the process of these are the common questions you may have. Here's them already answered so that you have no fear when you go into that purchase. And then general tips for landing pages. Across all of those landing pages, there is commonality and there is themes that you can apply to those landing pages and to any other landing pages you create. So clarity, making sure that people understand what you're actually talking about when you talk about your product is super, super clear. Software platforms, using these very corporate types words doesn't relate to people what it is you do. If you are selling t-shirts, tell people that you're selling t-shirts. You can use nice words like it's, organic fabrics and it's made in like fair trade companies, and all those things are excellent, but make sure that someone doesn't miss the fact that you sell t-shirts, because it's going to be very hard to get them to buy something if they're not 100% certain what it is that they're actually getting. Talk how you're spoken about. So if you're seeing customers talk about your product online, take a note of that and try to relay that into the copy that you're writing on your landing pages. No one is going to sell you better than the customers that are already buying for you, because they've already understood the value and they've been able to articulate it in their own form. And it's likely that that will help bring in more customers. So pay attention to what people are saying about your stuff, even if they're not giving you direct reviews. Setting up stuff like keywords on Twitter to track if your company's mentioned, stuff like that. It's just really, really helpful to try capture why it is that people like it, and is that what you're saying on your sites and your landing pages. Loss aversion. It's been commonly found in a bunch of studies that people are more afraid of losing something than they are hopeful and expectant about gaining something. So those limited time offerings, phrasing it as if you're about to lose something, is much more powerful than getting something. So if you can adopt that into your landing pages, do. It can be difficult to do in certain industries, but if you have the capability to show that, you know, if you don't claim this now, you're going to lose it, this deal only lasts till Friday, those types of words really, really resonate with audiences. A paradox of choice. And so I've dealt with this kind of a couple of times throughout the presentation, but what I mean by that is the more choices you give people, the less likely they are to make a choice. And so very commonly in landing pages, people want to give all of the options. If I have 5 products, I want to make sure they see all 5 products. I want them to call me or email me or buy a product or come to my store. People will want to put all of those things on it, but the more choices you give, it's less likely that someone's going to take it, and it most definitely will take them longer to decide, which is not what you want on a landing page. So when you can hone in as specifically as possible on the goal and making that really clear is much more likely to increase those conversion rates. Points towards the decision. So again, this is, can be a visual clue, can be a text clue, but quite literally pointing at a button has been shown to increase the amount of people that look at a button or look at the field that you're trying to get them to look at, or if it's a face turned at it, all of those types of techniques. So when you can make it very abundantly clear what you want someone to do, absolutely do that, whether it's through image, whether it's through text, whether it's through scrolling, whether it's through background blurs and everything else. Really making the option you want to stand out will help them actually do that. And then, as I talked about in one of the product pages, start point looking like end point. It's just a very important thing to do across your landing pages and across your overall marketing efforts. If your ad looks red, white, and blue, make sure your landing page looks red, white, and blue. Make sure your purchase page looks red, white, and blue. Make sure your product looks red, white, and blue. All of that should seamlessly fit together. So at no stage does your consumer feel like the process has been broken up. And then these are a bunch of free tools and resources that you can use. All of these are free, with the exception of none. Some of them have paid options, which you can opt into, but the Unbounce landing page analyzer, Unbounce are a landing page hosting tool. We use them. I would highly recommend them if you're looking for a tool, but their landing page analyzer will actually take your URL for free and it'll run a little report on it to say what it thinks you need to improve. So it'll look at things like page speed, but it'll also look at, do you have too much copy on your page? Do you have enough images? Do you have videos? And it'll give you a little score out of 100 about how well your landing page is doing. Again, it's an algorithmically run thing, so it's not always going to be perfect, but it's a really good guide. Are you pointing in the right direction with your landing page? The Flesch-Kincaid calculator is a calculator which basically says, is your copy easy to read? And so what it does is it ranks it based on, could a first grader, second grader, third grader, sixth grader, onwards and upwards, could they read your copy? And pretty much regardless of your industry and regardless of your audience, you'll want to make your copy as easy as possible to understand. And so the lower of an age bracket that your copy is understandable by, the more likely it is that someone will understand it and also take action based on it. So you can find a lot of them online. You just copy and paste your text in and it'll give you a score. And again, it's just a gut check. Does my copy make sense? Will people be able to understand it clearly? Hotjar is one of my favorite free tools. They also have pricing paid tiers, but what it does is it allows you to look at a certain amount of user sessions on your landing page or on your website and see what people are doing. So are people scrolling past the first scroll? You can also see specific user sessions. So someone comes onto my website for 10 minutes or my landing page for 10 minutes and they scroll up and down, but they don't know what to do, it can give you really good clues as to what is on your landing page that's working, but also what's not working so that you can fix and adapt it. HubSpot is free. There's obviously limits around what you get for the free, but the free version is something that I'd always recommend to people as they're building landing pages. Again, on that analytics trend, Google Analytics, kind of the industry standard, but again, setting it up correctly, seeing where people are coming to your site. Are they staying long on your page? Are they converting on those actions? Are they scrolling? Are they bouncing? All of that information can also be gathered by Google Analytics, and it's just a really good way to keep track of those metrics that with landing pages can be a little bit tougher to measure. And then these last two are places that I commonly go to just when you're looking for inspiration. It can be really hard to look at a blank page and try to build a landing page from that. And so landingpage.fyi has a bunch of different segments of landing pages. So if you're looking to say, how do I phrase my how it works section, or what way should my testimonials look, or I need a better footer section, it has all those sections from different companies and you can filter through and see what you think might resonate for you. And then growth.design is a really great tool where the folks over there have done a bunch of usability surveys that they delivered in a really excellent way of things that happen on landing pages and on websites and on services that like don't meet their customer expectations and what they would change. And so it brings in a lot of UX principles as well as psychological principles that are really, really helpful when you're looking at building your landing pages. And that is it. That is the end of the presentation.